brain sluice, slick with ectoplasmic juice.
Ecstatic energy, a fire that fuels our memory.
What genealogy with spiritual topography?
Questions for your answers, we are data necromancers.
Guess what?
What?
We're live.
Dun 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 dun.
Charge! I'm gonna jinx it. Everything works. Everything fucking works, ladies and gentlemen.
Set it on fire.
Welcome to episode 69. Where I'm forced to sit up straight because I've dismantled our microphone stands.
And our concept of reality.
And our concept of reality, which is always morphing, changing.
We're not necessarily advertising this book. But
She brought me a salad book.
I judge books by their covers when I peruse the shelves. And I picked up this
I'm gonna choke on my raw doggy watermelon here.
salad book. Good gravy I have been reading this morning.
Every morning. Fucking white. You and I, we taught a class last night.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant to post a picture in the Discord. You caught me. You took this funny picture of what looks like me hitting on a woman or something.
Oh man, you guys should have seen it. They were fucking hitting it off so well, and this lady was coming back for more. She was just paying attention to Whitney, and they were fucking. There was some chemistry there. Maybe some alchemistry. I don't know.
The group last night was so much fun. They were a bunch of lawyers, is what I was picking up on. They all went to law school. They were a bunch of lawyers. They all had advanced questions for me instead of like, what's the egg for? You know, just like really basic stuff they were asking. They were all like fans of drinking. They're lawyers.
Hence the reason they booked your cocktail party.
Hence the reason why they booked. But it was fun to have people who are engaged, inquisitive.
Instead of just wanting to get schwasty.
Well, or when we teach classes and everyone's silent and they don't want to do anything and they're scared.
Yeah, it was a good fit.
Fun.
It was a good fit for the program.
They ate all the fucking food.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought they were not going to be hungry.
Megan was freaking out the whole time that they weren't going to eat anything.
So I'm glad I made extra eggs. I am.
We had bacon wrapped dates. I didn't even get one of those.
You should have snagged one. So
Deviled
they were
eggs.
Goat cheese stuffed bacon wrapped dates. Deviled eggs.
And then ricotta
Spinach
stuffed.
and ricotta stuffed mushrooms.
You said you didn't think you strained the ricotta enough?
Yeah, the mixture was a little wet.
How did you snag one when they were done?
Yeah, that's the only way I know how to tell they're done, is by eating one. Which is why I always burn my mouth.
Were they tasty?
They were tasty. Because I put a ton of parm. I even put some mozzarella in there. And anytime you add cheese to something, it helps bind it. And it also helps season it and make it delicious.
Murphy, recharging his soul. Oh, but briefly last night, you brought up a topic. You said you were curious about bringing it on MAWPOD, but I didn't know if you said you had done a bunch of research. Last night you mentioned conservative dads and masculinity.
Oh.
And I was talking about the conflation between power, control, and masculinity.
I love that topic, but I completely forgot that I had brought that up.
Well,
I was drinking the cocktails that she demoed.
I was feeding them to her because obviously I am with child.
So tasty. I love to drink whatever she's making with her hands and her mind and her spirit because it come out so nice and tasty.
I like making drinks for you.
And for whatever reason, whenever she's making cocktails, I'm not getting hungover. But I also did feed myself and drink a ton of water when I got home.
You also ate like what looked like an entire cantaloupe.
Oh, I didn't eat that whole thing, but I did cut it up.
Okay. I was like,
some parts of it are really good. Some parts of it are too hard.
Yes.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
But I wanted to send you a picture because I know that you're a melon head.
I am currently a melon head. Central Market still had the alien puss.
No.
Yeah, they still had the alien puss. Melons. I don't know what they're actually called.
Alien puss. When you eat it, it's like cunnilingus of the gods.
Yeah, it's like just a gallon of fucking alien secretions coming out.
Sweet juice.
They were just buried with all the other melons in the Central Market landscape.
It'd be funny if it was like a ball pit where you had to like enter into the melon pit and like find your
melon,
prescribed perfect melon.
They're all peed on.
Mi corazón de melón. Let's see. Where
do you start? I don't even know what you're bringing to the fucking table.
I've got some sketches in there.
Whoa! I see a cross.
So here's the rosy cross.
You guys see it?
The cross with the rose in the middle. And then here's the Luther rose, which has a cross in the middle. So I wanted to touch on the Rosicrucians and just generally like secret societies. And because Teresa asked us a really intriguing question. So she sent this podcast which had a lot of really interesting points. One of which the person said, science is a lens through which we experience time and space. Psyche is the lens through which we experience magic, imagination, dream synchronicity, etc. After the three main religions soured everyone's view on all things spiritual and the beauty of science showed up and saved the day, we all sort of disconnected or lost the ability to view the world through anything but a scientific lens. And I thought that was really interesting because I'd been reading about basically the hermetic sciences, the occult, the esoteric knowledge that's always associated with the Rosicrucians, the Knights Templar, like the groups of secret men,
fringe people who are hiding shit from the Catholic Church.
Exactly. So I thought that question was really perfect, and it helps us sort of have an angle of attack when we consider the occult knowledge, the esoteric knowledge that we're so intrigued by and interested in. So I was reading about the founder of the Rosicrucians, Christian Rosenkreutz. So this person is probably made up because
everybody was under a guise.
Right. So I think it's interesting how it's necessary to kind of create a hoax or a parody, and like that's the thing that you send out and float, and you don't use your real identity, so you keep your association with that fake thing secret. But if people catch on, they see that instead of the real thing you're working on underneath. And underneath is like a cool idea, because these secret societies, these groups that are interested in curiosity and questioning, they're underground, but they're also literally purported to be underground. So like the metro of Paris, like these underground tunnels, and like the Roman Empire, there's like this need to keep this knowledge and information transmitted through time. Like you don't want to lose it and not pass it on to the next people, but you also can't risk getting caught, because we talked about it last time. The Catholic Church was in the business of persecuting through martyrdom.
Their fucking favorite thing to do.
Any heretical questioning of the ultimate truth that they established, which was, Jesus Christ is God. He came to earth, was made man, he died, was resurrected, and now he's in heaven. So if you had anything that would bring into question the veracity of that statement, you're fucking dead.
Yeah.
You're dead meat. That's it. So the need for these people to be underground, because they were sort of sons of the Hermetic tradition. And if we talk about Hermetic, it's like Hermes, the god Hermes. I took some notes because there's some terminology that we need to be clear on. So all of this information is sort of based around Hermes Trismegistus. So this is another sort of legendary figure who joins together the Greek god Hermes and his Egyptian counterpart Thoth. And I've never really read about Egyptian gods very in depth, but Thoth was a man with the head of an ibis or a baboon sometimes. So god of the moon, god of wisdom, knowledge, writing, hieroglyphs, science, magic, art, and judgment. So the ancient knowledge that the Egyptians had and the Greeks had is sort of conflated as one swirling hermetic occult philosophy and handed down through these like secret societies like the Rosicrucians and the Knights Templar and things like that. But I also thought it was really interesting that Hermes, the Greek god, was called a psychopomp, and psychopomp literally means soul guide. So he would be the conductor of the souls in the afterlife because he was the herald of the gods. So he could freely go between.
What's a herald exactly? Like
a messenger.
Okay, just a messenger.
Yeah, like I bring news from the kingdom of Rohan.
The original text message.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So he had this ability to go between the realm of the divine and then the realm of the mortals. And I think that is sort of like those two disparate worlds we see as disparate because we have this dualistic vision of our experience of reality. Like there's the material and then there's the spiritual, but Hermes was the go-between, like the conductor of the souls between the worlds. And I also thought it was interesting that psychopomp is the word used for soul guide because psyche is the Greek word for breath, and that's how they called the soul. So I thought it was really interesting in the question that Teresa provided that the person referred to the psyche as the lens through which we experience magic and imagination and dream synchronicity. So all of this is sort of just to summarize the background through which we kind of deal with these topics of like dreams and just like the unexplainable tidbits that we know are there, but there's no like scientific materialism doesn't touch it.
No.
And can't touch it. So even though science rose up to sort of defeat the Abrahamic God,
I feel like you just described the first pulling back of the pendulum.
Aha! And where does it swing now?
Into scientific materialism, which perpetuates technology and the Industrial Revolution.
But it ignores an entire facet of experience.
Which brings up conservative dads! Oh my God!
It's all connected. It's all connected. And that's sort
Fox
of like
News.
The Hermes Trismegistus. Trismegistus also means thrice greatest. I don't know where it comes from. But so the whole business is to come up with a single true theology that threads through all religions. So the whole point of these secret societies that, you know, carry on the ancient knowledge of the Egyptians and the Greeks is to unite everything. He's like, what's wrong? Murphy just did the squeakiest little fart.
In exact the moment you said a truth, he released. That was like one of his loudest farts.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. Thank you, Murphy. He farted in consensus with what I had said. So there you have it. That's true.
I suddenly smell you, me, and Teresa on a trip to Egypt.
Whoa!
There's a alchemical school that I'd love to go to. It's in LA, so I'm never gonna go there.
But she doesn't like driving on those highways.
Oh, LAX, man, can eat a dick. But Can eat a fart dick. I gotta clear my mind for a second.
Clear your mind. Raw dog some watermelon.
They do trips. They do alchemical pilgrimages to Egypt, and they go see the fun shit that we would have like a fucking blast scene.
Of course.
I would that's on my bucket list. Could you imagine? No, you can't imagine like the fact that any of it is still standing there to some degree. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I'm super intrigued by it, but I'm also like kind of mad that women were always excluded from these secret circles.
Especially when they ruled Egypt for hundreds and hundreds of years. Like,
and then
women
like,
were in charge.
Pharaoh.
That was something, well, I can put it on your to-do list.
Yeah.
Researching when women stopped ruling Egypt. And I do believe it had to do with Alexander the Great. Something happened there.
Oh, wasn't he a contemporary of Cleopatra?
Yeah. I want to know
she's got her best dog on it. That's me.
I know, man. I just sometimes if like I'm feeling anxious or paranoid, this pregnancy I've been super paranoid. Just picture being in Megan's apartment. I'm like,
it's such a soft.
She's reading right now. She's making a fucking
peaceful place.
I went over to her house the other day. She's like, "Do you want a pickle quesadilla?" And I was like, "Bitch,
I'll make you tea. I'll give you sparkling water."
What's the name of the cheese that you
Menonita.
use? Menonita cheese
which is like, I guess, Spanish for Mennonite, which is like a type of. Is that a type of Amish? It's some. It's like some puritanical.
Dude, some Mexican Amish cheese. I don't know. I had it laying around.
It's stretchy like mutts, and it's got good flavor though. So it's, I don't know. I think it's a little better than the Oaxacan. Don't at me, bro.
It's a lot better, and then you fucking threw a shit ton of pickles on there and some fucking mustard.
Yellow.
And I went to heaven.
I'll take you there.
I went to heaven.
When did women stop ruling Egypt? And I don't know, I just had this thought, like maybe women saw that there was an opportunity to kind of lead from behind. You know? Instead of like, I don't know, it feels like we were catapulted into this eons and eons, like this epoch of war, and women were like, okay, I'm gonna like just make my husband do whatever I want him to do, like from back here. But I don't know, it's a very broad statement. I don't have any proof.
Teresa said Madame Blavatsky is a pillar of esoteric knowledge.
Oh, good. Madame
Blavatsky.
Is it with an L?
Blovatsky.
Oh, I've heard of Madame Bovary before, but maybe that's unrelated. So what do you think, man? How do you essentialize the truth from all the rumors? Faith? I know, it's a heavy question,
That's
brother.
a fucking heavy question, man.
It's a heavy question.
I remember Lucas bought the Book of the Rosicrucians at a bookstore in the middle of nowhere, Vermont. And we both just kind of looked at it. I was like, what's that? And he's like, I don't know. And then we both read it. We were like, whoa, this book is really sick. And that kind of launched us, like in Baltimore, you know, we live downtown Baltimore. You're walking everywhere. And there was always this door we were walking by. It's just this teeny little door. And it was like head of the Theosophical Society of Maryland or whatever, and I like looked it up. It didn't look like anybody was still going there, but it, like if you paid really close attention to the door, suddenly you're like, oh, this door's really old. Oh, there's all sorts of weird symbols all over this door. And then you look into the Theosophical Society and you're like, oh shit,
yeah,
who the fuck was working here?
Ben Franklin.
Yeah, Ben Franklin.
Robs.
There was and then that started me kind of on the metaphysical journey because I was having strange experiences.
Here, I can define metaphysics for those who are unclear.
Please.
The branch of philosophy that deals with the first principles of things, including abstract concepts such as being, knowing, substance, cause, identity, time, and space. It's those things that scientific materialism doesn't really have answers for. Satisfactory answers. Please go on.
And I think that stuff, like I had a lot of anxiety and depression, and I felt really lost. Even after finding Lucas, I was still just like, the fuck is the point? Like, I've always been burdened with just existing. It's always just been a fucking bummer to me. So,
sorry.
And I always felt like I had a lot of fuel in my brain's tank, but nothing was interesting enough. Like science was to a degree, but it felt really dogmatic all the time. And then I got like really into reading quantum physics books, but it was all like theories. And it was still, looking back at it, it just wasn't, there was no whimsy, or there was no people who were really progressive in thought. It was like, well, I don't know about what this guy said. It just kind of, there's no proof. And it was just like that for hundreds of pages.
Oh, yeah. So like a lack of bravery to state like,
what if this was the way?
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't like positive
consensus,
futuristic, fun stuff. It was all just very cutting down of what other people had, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? A lot of dudes like trying to measure their dicks all the time, and maybe I just wasn't reading the right books, which is very possible.
Yeah, nothing interesting.
But the metaphysical shit, like, it was finally something to chew on. It was finally something to read. It was finally fucking interesting. It was like, whoa, I've experienced strange stuff like that, and I always enjoyed the sacred aspect of it, or not sacred, but ancient. I'm like, this is just, this ain't new. I always really...
Nothing new, man. But it's wild to think about the game of telephone throughout history. It's like, okay, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 years ago, someone did X. And here we are today, 2023, like... How could we ever get a clear anything from that time? Even if God or aliens or anyone had descended and given writings, which is what I'm reading about right now. I'm reading In the Shadow of the Sword, which is about the birth and the rise of the Islamic Empire.
Because you were talking about how in your Renaissance divings, you're like, wow, there's this big gaping hole where Islam...
Well, that's why European minds would say that it was the Dark Ages, but it was during this time that Islam took root and translated all of the ancient Greek and Roman and Egyptian things in the House of Wisdom and, books and shit. So it was like, it wasn't the Dark Ages, it was just like Christianity crushed Europe into its, one God grasp. And that's why I'm reading this book on Islam, because I want to know, why they sought the knowledge and why it was, I guess I know why it was overrun by the Christians, because they were seen as infidels. So they were in a constant state of war in the Crusades against the Muslims. But anyway,
it's funny that there isn't more, or you're not taught the holistic thing. Like, hey, yeah, this is what's happening over here, but what was really going on was this. It's like I was never taught any of that. It's all very niche.
That's the huge thing about history. I also got the 1619 project because I just saw it on the shelf and I was like, shit, this is about America. Like, I need to know the truth, or like a different version of history, because 20 years ago or even less, like, there's no mention of black people for a long period of time in our nation's history, and they fucking built our country. And like the omission of people from the timeline is what you really need to pay attention to.
Well, I don't understand why it pisses people off if you're like opening up a big museum in Charleston about how this was the #1 port for slaves and everybody gets mad and you're like, okay, that's just what happened. Like,
yeah.
Why is this a bipartisan thing, or why does this rock anybody's boat? It's like, no, this is where where all the people came in. So
it's like the same, not the same reason, but a similar reason to why all of these secret societies had to operate in the dark, you know, like underground, because the establishment does not condone.
They're so insecure.
Yes.
They're so insecure. There's nothing more insecure than being like, oh, you can't say what actually happened.
But that's it.
It's an attack on my
their power
fallacy.
Is ephemeral and based on misdirection. So if we can understand the truth, then they won't have power anymore.
Yeah, and humans make great slaves. We were talking about that last night, how we can just real quick just deal with it and just, this is how it is. La 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 la.
Well,
la,
it's
la.
wild to think that a child is completely at the mercy of the people who are raising the child.
Yeah.
And like, if your parents are insane, or if they are evil, or if they just don't know, then neither will you, unless you, for some reason, have a notion to peer outside of their tutelage and, you know, like Matilda, go to the library yourself and like
go to the
feed
house
your
of
head
wisdom.
because your parents don't feed your head. It's crazy to think that people are in charge of raising people. To me, there's no qualification you have to meet. There's no license you have to get.
There's somebody close.
You just do it.
Somebody close to me who's like, you know, this should be what parents teach their kids, and I'm just like, yeah, but no one's going to. No parent is going to tell you how to fuck. I guarantee it. Yes, scrub that from the public school system and leave that in the hands of the individual household. And what will happen? Nothing. A lot of misinformation. Yeah.
It's good to have a unified attack as far as like education goes.
Well, I have a soft spot for public education because I think it's something everybody wants to leave and not touch. And I hate when I hear somebody say, well, we moved to a better school system. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, because fuck the poor kids, right? Fuck them. You don't want your kid near them. Like, you don't want to put in the time or the effort or the dedication or the money or the tax property to elevate your kids. So I'm not going to homeschool or anything. It's just like I really would prefer to be super involved in my community. I'm not gonna fucking move. I don't care. There's a house I like. Okay, yeah, cool. Like my neighbor, she was telling, I was like, where are you gonna send blah blah blah, go to school? And she's just like, oh, I don't know if you would go there. And I was like, what's that supposed to mean? She's like, the principal is an ex-Black Panther. And I was like, fucking righteous, man.
Yeah.
I was like, the Black Panthers to me are one of the most American fucking groups ever. Militias. And oh no, we went dark. Why'd we go dark? Y'all can't see us anymore.
Oh, we went dark because we mentioned the Black Panther.
Oh shit. Let's go. Oh shit. Yeah, it's like the light's still going on the...
Yesterday was Juneteenth, which is another the establishment and their misinformation. Enslaved peoples were not informed of the Emancipation Proclamation in a timely fashion and were still enslaved for 2 years after the leader of the free world, Abraham Lincoln, issued the edict that they were free and slavery was against the law. So it's just like, you have to read stuff. You gotta inform yourself, because the government is not gonna do it for you. They don't want you to be curious. They don't want you to be informed. And they're in control. So there you have it.
Dude, the second I fucking said Black Panther, man.
All right. People aren't ready for the truth. I admire the Black Panthers. the fucking... Should we dip into the concept of the history of slavery?
We should bring back, because like I just remember the shit that I did here was just like, did you know they hate all Americans and they're Muslims and they want everybody to die? And I'm like, that doesn't sound like the actual thing that happened.
I'm gonna read the 1619 Project, so I imagine we'll have an episode later where I relay everything I've learned and am disgusted by or intrigued by or inspired by.
Speaking the truth, is this what happens when we put Megan on the fucking research dial?
Dude, I love research. That's why I loved being in school. Just reading, absorbing all the knowledge.
Well, that was 30 minutes, so... Yeah, who infiltrated our space?
I don't know, man. The great space spider. The spider who controls the Catholic Church.
Do you think it's a spider?
There's an episode of South Park where it's a spider. Like a big spider.
Like a big pedophilia spider.
Yeah, exactly. They're at like this ecumenical council and they have to consult the great spider. It's like, wait. This isn't cool.
Should we wear our whirling dervish outfits to the Catholic Church? What's it called? The church, like the big. It's got its own city.
Vatican.
The Vatican. Yeah.
I'm going again to the Vatican in July.
Shut the fuck up. Are you for real?
I'm for real. My cousin
Can you break
Marcy
in?
was...
No, we're gone again. Fuck it. You guys don't get to see shit.
What happened?
I think my Can you break into the Vatican for me?
I don't think I need to break in.
Oh.
You can just go in.
Can you go in the church?
Yes. St. Peter's Basilica? Absolutely. That's how you view the Sistine Chapel.
Megan.
Let's go.
Are you coming back?
Yes, of course. I've been to the Vatican before, but when I went before, it was 2008, 2009, and President Barack Obama, God bless him, was in Vatican City the same time I was, so they didn't have St. Peter's open for tourists.
Oh.
He was having tea with the Pope, which is cool, whatever. I didn't think I would ever get an opportunity to go back, but I have. So I'm very excited about that. My cousin at the time, she's still my cousin, but at the time she made fun of me for covering my head and arms and stuff, because it's like a ritual of religious deference. You're supposed to be modest and chaste, so I sort of went along with it. And she was like, "You're dumb. You don't have to cover your hair." I'm like, "I just want to, babe. I'll do what I want." What should we do now? We talked about esotericism, Adam Haslmayr. Or do you want to talk about Adam Haslmayr? Do you know anything about him?
It's on my fucking phone. So from what I recall, my grandma and Teresa did like massive genealogy research before she died. And she said there was a big gap between the last Haslmayr they could trace and then this other guy that kept popping up in all of her shits.
Yeah.
All of her shits and all of her research.
Toilets.
And all of her toilet shit. And she's like, this is part of our lineage, but the links between him and this one guy, there's 100 years missing. Which makes sense. I don't know. It's because he was born in 1562. And it looked like he was born. So he was in the same region where the Haslmayrs came from. Mm-hmm. Just northern Italy. South
Northern
Germany.
Italy. Southern Germany. Tyrol. Tyrol.
Tyrol. Yo, what's
B-roll.
up?
B-roll for T-roll. Or maybe it's called
roll
T-roll.
that sweet T-roll B-roll. And so he claimed, also shout out Teresa for fucking, she sent me voice messages and the Wikipedia page on Adam Haslmayr. And now I'm like, okay, this is something I need to save and hold on to.
Absolutely. Especially since he's purported to have been involved in these hermetic orders.
Well, he allegedly found a stash of letters related to the Rosicrucians that he wrote an intro to. And they were from 150 years earlier. So it's like, oh, dude, I want to know more. But it sucks when it's like, that's a long time ago. Not a butt ton of information happening.
Yeah, because the records were susceptible to fire. I mean, everything was still lighted with fire, heated with fire. So I'm sure everything that we could want to know is just destroyed.
It makes me want to go there, though.
And read the markings on the ground.
Go to the dirt hole that he lived in. What do you live in 1562? I don't know, like a fucking
hut.
A hut?
Probably a little, I don't know. They had trees. They probably had little houses.
So it was really cool. Let me... They spelled it funny. Hasel.
Haslmayr is how I saw it on Wikipedia. Wikipedia. Dickipedia.
You guys like my heavy breathing? Yeah, here it is. Fama Fraternis Rosa Crucia Order. It's in German.
That might be Latin.
Is it Latin?
It's the
Die Bruderschaft des
that's definitely
Ordens.
German. But Fama Fraternatis.
Yes. Rosa Crucis? Let me see your Rosa Crucis.
So there's 3 manifestos or 3 manuscripts. That's the first one. And then the second one is the Confessio Fraternitatis. And then the third one is the Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosenkreuz. So these are the 3 Rosicrucian documents that everybody's in a hubbub about. Maybe not so much anymore because nobody gives a shit about anything, especially history.
They're like, how many followers on TikTok do I fucking have?
I know. I was thinking about how this stuff that we talk about is so disconnected from like what people are interested in nowadays. Like, what are people interested in nowadays?
I don't know, but there's people like us who are hungry for cool shit.
Yeah, but if we don't package it into a 30-second clip with,
No, don't be veiled by social media. Because you know what it's like to like a fan of a podcast. I don't know if you never went to a live taping of like but I did, and there's hordes of people who don't fucking care.
Well, and most of the people who are rubbish heads came from Tim's office hours live crew. So I know they're out there.
No, we are this is how tucked away we are. The only signal boost we have is from Yammy Noob. So
yeah.
But we garnered fans in a motorcycle space.
True.
Because food is, fucking
universal.
Everybody loves food. And
some people have disdain for food, I've noticed. Like
what?
they regret that that's part of their existence. Like they need to eat again. Oh no, my body needs energy again.
Okay, but what are they spending their time doing? Jerking it?
Like feats of physical excellence. I think some people are so like job and career oriented that their extra time is spent at the gym and they don't have time to cook or like enjoy life.
Well, luckily none of them are procreating.
I don't know. Yeah, well,
whatever.
I guess we'll see.
What was I just about to say? Ah, shit. I got
Signal
funked.
boost. Yummy noob.
Signal boost. Yummy
Signal
noob.
boost. Yummy noob.
Yeah, and I see, like, when I get a shit ton of subscribers on YouTube, I see our fucking count go up. And that's without any marketing.
Yeah. Fuck marketing.
So there's weirdos out there who think that, who want to know shit like this.
For sure.
It's hard, though, when you're, like, staring at Instagram being like, sucks.
I sort of revel in the fact that my followers go down from time to time. I'm like, oh, good. Please.
Every time I post a YouTube video.
If you don't want to be here, please don't be here. I don't want to force anything onto you. It's good that it's like a self-culling following. It's like, okay, yes. If this doesn't suit you, then you're not meant to be here. Thank you so much for recognizing that fact.
You and I have a funny journey because we don't really satiate our egos ever, and we struggle with exposing our lives or trying to post enough or...
Yeah. I think I was reflecting on that this morning, sort of like... Rubbish cook, I don't think it will ever be my career because I don't want it to be a job.
No, you
because I actually enjoy editing it, which is why I give so much space in between editing bouts. But if I had to sit down and do shit like and post it on time and do it once every 2 days or whatever, I wouldn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know? I'll just keep teaching classes. Because that I can show up for, and that's like physically demonstrative. It's kind of like...
I can't fit both of us in
It's
here.
kind of like stand-up comedy too.
Here's my hand. Oh, look, that's her fucking hand.
Jeremy spoken class today.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
How confusing. Thanks, guys, for being here.
They're the real ones.
For real. Yeah, man.
Yeah, but also I picture, like, flip side, devil's advocate. If somebody handed you $1 million to make a show, I would watch the shit out of it.
Bro, yeah. I mean, a lot of people who look at my stuff and who, like, encourage me to continue creating stuff, I'm like, thanks, that's awesome. But they like tag Netflix and Hulu and whatever, and they're like, fight to the death, this person needs $1 billion. And I'm like, dudes, do we really need to go corporate? Do we need to go corporate? It's not
about going corporate, it's about giving you a plug. It's about giving you electricity. It's not about trying to sell you out or anything.
Yeah, I just wouldn't want to be forced to create it in some way that suits, you know, the market. You know what I mean? And I know your thing is like get into it, get into the system so that you can pull it down from the inside. But
it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but I get really fucking hung up on... Eric and I, Yam and I shared an office. I don't know why he would never sit in his own office, but I sat face to face with the only thing that separates that person from making $2.2 million a year and me is the drive. And I have the fucking drive.
Yeah.
But I don't want to play the game. But dudes can see the game like competitively or like poker, or it's just to them it doesn't matter. It's like, just fucking do the thing, quit thinking about it. But we're women. What the fuck is that? Dad?
Hello? Yeah, and I know like the Jim Carrey thing where you're like, I'm going to be handed a check for this much money and like this specificity of your desires.
You also doubt cooking chicken though.
Huh?
Sorry, I'm making a big string from this conversation.
No, man, I can cook a fucking chicken, but when when there's multiple dishes involved and the timing needs to be just right and the class has to be under 2 hours and the weight of the chicken is sometimes 3.4 pounds and the weight of the chicken is sometimes 5.7 pounds, there's just a lot of variables and it takes a lot of practice.
The timing thing with the class is what is making me not teach pasta while you guys are gone, because to watch the 4 timers you have to have in your head is like, yeah, maybe with a demo group we could do this a couple of times before executing it. But
I know I can cook a chicken and I can cook it well, but the time constraints are really what the stressor is.
A big hunk of meat.
With bones. Lots of bones and different types of tissue. Because I explain this to my students in classes. If you watch a chicken, they're running around, jumping.
Dude, they're fast.
They've got all that oxygenated blood flowing into their thighs and legs. But their breasts are stationary because they're flightless birds. So their breast doesn't get a lot of oxygenated blood. It doesn't require as much heat as the leg and thigh to cook through. So cooking a whole bird is kind of fraught in and of itself, because you could undercook the leg and thigh if you cook the breast perfectly, or overcook the breast to get the leg and thigh perfectly cooked. So, I mean, we've been roasting whole birds for millennia, and it's just something that I want to practice more and more. Makes me hungry.
It's almost time. It's almost fucking lunchtime.
Yeah, baby, and that's my favorite time of day, besides supper. God, dude.
Just kick him off. Just kick him out. He's 55 pounds. Just kick him up. It's like
all his weight forced into those tiny points.
Yeah, nothing about him makes sense. Nothing. Like, the fact that he loves me so much when I just kick him all the time.
He's sweet. We have a good relationship. It's kind of one-sided.
Somebody came to pick up you know what a pickler is? It's like a little toddler, that like wooden ladder looking thing.
It's called a pickler?
It's called a pickler.
Why?
I don't know.
Baby pickler?
Funny backstory about the pickler. My dad knows how much of a coffee people me and Lucas are, right? Like, we're big coffee people. And we got like that new coffee machine, and my dad's like, I got you a Keurig. And I was like,
ew, yuck.
I'm sure the coffee's fine. I'm not fucking, that just stands for everything I don't like about anything. I'm never in that much of a fucking hurry.
Yeah.
Ever. My dad thought it was great, and get this is how much of a fucking like waste cyclone this was.
Yeah.
He would only buy packs of bottled water. You know me,
to go into the Keurig?
To have in the house. To drink. So he'd sit there and pour 6 bottles of water in his Keurig, and then the plastic would stack up, and then he'd have 4 cups of Keurig coffee. And I was like, I don't want this from...
No, that's one of the worst inventions. It just propagates garbage.
Yeah, well, it's just... I was like, come on, Dad, read the fucking room. But he never did that. He just bought what he wanted all the time. And so I put it on Craigslist. I felt bad. I didn't really open it. I didn't use it. I was like, I'm going to throw this on Craigslist for $200. And then the dude there... This dude brought a bottle of water, and he's like, I want to make sure it works. And I was like, it's in the fucking box. Yeah. And so we were outside of Starbucks.
Oh, yeah.
We were outside of Starbucks, and I found this outdoor outlet, and plugged it in, and it wouldn't work. And he was like, see, this is what I was worried about. And I was like, no, it's the fucking outlet. Like, don't, shut up. And he's like being just a fucking Craigslist buyer, like just pissing me off. So I bring it into Starbucks. I have this gigantic fucking behemoth Keurig, and I'm mad because this dude's an idiot. And I throw it on a table. The entire packed Starbucks is looking at me because I'm bringing a coffee machine into fucking Starbucks because this dude is a fucking idiot. And I set it on a table, and I plug it in, and I go, pour the shit in. button turns on, everything turns on, makes a fucking he's like, oh, okay, good. Yeah. I was like, do you want to drink this now, or like, do you want to taste quality? I was like, what? Fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, the skepticism on Craigslist, I understand.
Oh, but I used the money that I sold from the Keurig to buy a pickler, because those are expensive.
Got it.
The day I got Murphy, he ate it. He ate the whole thing. He chewed on every wooden dowel. His mouth was bleeding. His gums were bleeding. I looked at the pickler that I had like gone through the Keurig fucking gauntlet with, and I looked at Murphy, who had shards of wood and blood pouring out of his mouth, and I'm just like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? So I knew it would be an easy fix. It's like, cut the dowels. The dowels are like fucking $2 at Home Depot, but then it got mold in it. And then it's just been sitting, rotting in my garage. And I'm like, I'm never going to get around to this, because it symbolizes the Keurig that my dad got for me, the idiot who bought the Keurig, Murphy being a fucking idiot potato. I need someone else to come take this. So I put it on Facebook, Buy Nothing group. Somebody came and got it almost immediately, but the guy who came out of this like fucking Punisher themed.
No.
Yes, there were so many Punishers. You had every flavor of fucking Punisher. We should do a Punisher episode.
Holy shit.
Because I've never seen that movie. I want to watch that movie. Maybe we can watch it. We can stream it or something.
We should find the comics too. Because I'm pretty sure it was a comic before it was a movie.
Right. And this guy comes out and his face is all bandaged up.
What?
Murphy goes after him. And I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't. Just, he's losing his shit because this dude's face is bandaged. His Jeep is fucking Punisher flavored. I'm like, here.
You have a child that's going to use this?
She was pregnant.
Oh, got it.
You know, because they're expensive, so it's like, go spend $50 at Home Depot and just fix it.
That was a crazy, circuitous, labyrinthine. That sort of speaks to the low probability that we would be sitting here at this table. You know? Because, like, sometimes I think, in an effort to encourage a feeling of gratitude for my everything, I think, like, okay, the people I am descended from had to first survive, you know, all the different things that have happened to humanity. Sorry, I'm starting to lose connection to my thoughts because I'm so hungry.
Oh, okay. Well, just wrap it up and we'll...
But, like, the people who gave birth to us, their ancestors had to survive the Black Plague, you know, the Crusades, like all the things that have happened throughout time that have decimated the population. Our people somehow managed to send their seed into time, marching forward. And that's crazy to me. That is so nuts. That, I guess, it doesn't mean that they survive those things, but their kids survive those things, right?
Cream pie after cream pie.
Cream pie. I almost said something very inappropriate that I will not say. Thank you so much, everybody. It was great to have you.
And shit, I just had a thought though before you almost said something outrageously inappropriate.
Murphy, say goodbye to the folks.
Say goodbye, Murphy.
Say it, honey. You can say it. Oh, you got eye boogie. We need a tissue so we can wipe your eyes. You can go say nothing? This is your fans, baby. You go say nothing. He ain't gonna say nothing.
That's just how Murphy do. All right, it's time to eat, ladies and gentlemen. And by ladies, I mean all gentlemen.
And gentle ladies.
Okay, how do I fucking turn this shit off? Bye.
Bye.